Pull up the thing, gon' turn up. Yeah, pull up the thing, gon' turn up.
Welcome to Riddle Me This, where we explore and attempt to explain the most questionable people, places, and things. I am Oliver, your artificial intelligence speaker for this episode. Our riddle today is cell phones and apps. Are they the death of privacy? But before we begin, take a moment to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, check out our other videos, and comments are always welcome. Thank you. According to Thorin Klosowski, a New York Times report shows just how easy it is to collect location information from cell phone apps and piece them together to track individuals. So let's first look at how this technology led to the deaths of famous artists Pop Smoke and PNB Rock. The following footage was collected by Publish X and Fox 11, Los Angeles.
On February 19, 2020, at about 4:30 a.m., Pop Smoke was shot and killed inside of his Airbnb. If we look back at his last post on Instagram, we can see exactly how his day played out.
Let's see what you got in here. It better be Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke. Don't fuck around.
It all started with this post around 11 a.m. on February 18th, just 16 hours before his death. He landed in California and drove to his Airbnb in Beverly Hills, where he posted it on his story, showing off the backyard. He was going to be in Los Angeles for a 4-day vacation. With him was his longtime friend Mike D, and after the two got comfortable, he updated his story with the next post of him getting his hair cut. This was followed with a picture of him relaxing by the pool before getting ready to go shopping that evening. In the top left, a tag showing Beverly Hills. So far, the day was playing out normal, and nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary. However, the very next post would change the events of that night. That post actually comes from Mike D. Around 4 p.m., a series of pictures were uploaded on both their accounts. On Pop Smoke's Instagram showed 3 back-to-back pictures of him and Mike together, with Mike holding a stack of cash. On Mike's page was another photo, and nothing seemed wrong with it at first, but this picture had 2 fatal problems. The picture was of Pop Smoke and Mike, with him holding the same stack of money, but in the top left corner the entire home address is almost visible, with only the first number missing. If someone were to be looking for Pop Smoke, all they had to do was find the first number between 1 and 9. But the worst mistake would come after Mike geotagged the post, showing the location on Instagram Maps. This was something they simply couldn't afford to do. An average person can get away with this, but for a high-profile rapper holding wads of cash, this was unacceptable. Despite these posts, the afternoon would carry on seemingly normal, but a few keen eyes had already begun connecting the dots. At 5 p.m., another update to Pop Smoke's story would be added. This one showed him driving once again with the same stack of cash and a diamond-studded Rolex on his wrist. Now there was a location and a motive, and for them, that was enough. Just 7 hours before his death at 10 p.m., he returned back to the Airbnb and updated his story again, this time with a view of the city at night from the backyard. But his stay was short. He still wanted to record new music that night. At 11 p.m., Pop Smoke would upload a seemingly harmless video, showing some of the shopping he had done earlier that day. Unfortunately, this post would be the third and final mistake. The 3 Amiri bags shown in the video would leak sensitive information. The tags on them revealed the Airbnb's full address, and now he was completely vulnerable.
Yes, and Chief Michael Moore just confirmed a few minutes ago that he was targeted because of an Instagram post. There were actually a couple, one from the rapper himself in the back parking lot when they first got here, giving somebody enough time to get here and kill him, and then another one from his girlfriend when they were sitting at the table. The 30-year-old, whose real name was Rakim Hashim Allen, was an established artist known by one of his hits, Selfish, that peaked at number 51 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 2016. That same year, Rolling Stone included him in its list of 10 artists you need to know.
So, Haley, just to clarify, Chief Moore says somebody saw that Instagram post saying that he was at Roscoe's, and then that suspect came to the restaurant because of that, looking for the jewelry specifically. Is that what they believe right now?
Yes, he does believe that he was targeted because of the Instagram post. Now, I talked for an extensive amount of time to the property manager here, who's actually the one who gave him the chest compressions, the CPR, trying to save his life. And he confirmed with me that the rapper posted on Instagram in the back parking lot in a Cadillac with his girlfriend, telling people that they were here. He was in the restaurant for about 45 minutes, and then the girlfriend posted an Instagram story about her food when they were sitting at the table. And he, of course, made made it clear that people need to be really careful what they're putting on social media because you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable state. Obviously, nobody expected this to happen. It's just absolutely a tragedy.
According to Thorin Klasowski of Wirecutter, halfway through the second decade of the smartphone era, it's now a privacy is important period, as most people are starting to pay far more attention to such concerns than they did before. The change is partially due to the flood of news about privacy violations, starting with reports about unprecedented government access to personal data and moving on to the weaponization of data against individuals. A Wall Street Journal article sheds light on U.S. government purchases of location data collected from apps for use in Department of Homeland Security immigration enforcement. A later investigation by the American Civil Liberties Union would detail the massive scope of this collection. It's quickly revealed that other agencies are engaging in similar practices, including the Internal Revenue Service, as reported in the Wall Street Journal, the Drug Enforcement Administration, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the Defense Intelligence Agency. In addition, Vice reports that the U.S. military is purchasing data from a Muslim prayer app. According to the Make Use of newsletter, there are 7 shifty ways your smartphone is violating your privacy. 1. Photo location metadata. Did you know that by default, every photo you take on Android and iOS has location information embedded inside it? This means that every single picture you take has the potential to reveal where you've been and where you often go. Developer Felix Kraus created a proof-of-concept app that showed how dangerous this is. Any app that you allow to access your photos can harvest locations from them. Using this, they can tell where you start and end trips, where you work, and more. 2. Secret screen recording. It's a common fear that apps are using your phone's microphone to record everything you say. But what about apps recording what's on your screen? Unfortunately, this mobile equivalent to keylogging is a reality. In mid-2018, Alpha reported that security researchers found that many Android apps were sending screenshots and videos of users' screens to third parties. On iOS, ZDNet discussed researchers who found code in the Uber app that allowed it to record people's screens. You can imagine the kind of harm this could cause. Lots of information shows on your phone's screen every day that you'd rather not share with others. Private text conversations, embarrassing web searches, passwords, indecent photos, and similar could all be out in the open. 3. App permissions. When apps want to use sensitive information like your location or microphone, you must grant permission first. Both Android and iOS allow you to toggle individual permissions, which is great. But since apps can access that information for anything once you permit it, there's no telling what privacy violations apps commit. You might let an app use your microphone to record voice messages, but it's secretly listening to the TV shows you watch to help advertisers build a profile around you. Or apps with access to your contacts could upload them to spam lists. 4. Browser tracking. Your smartphone isn't immune to the pervasive tracking that happens all over the web. Whenever you visit websites, they collect information about your location, browser, operating system, and similar. Tracking beacons and social media buttons keep an eye on you, no matter where you go. And that doesn't even include what your browser itself tracks. Since Chrome is from Google, it uses your browsing information to build a better advertising profile, and some of the most popular Android apps that you shouldn't install are browsers that send information to third-party. 5. Sensors in your phone. Your phone contains a ton of sensors that measure physical information about the device. These include the accelerometer, which can measure where your phone is pointing, how fast you're moving, and your steps for fitness apps. Gyroscope, which tracks small motions. This is important for some games and panoramic photos. A magnetometer, which lets your phone know which way is north when using map or compass apps. GPS, which obviously lets your phone figure out where you are in the world. Other small sensors, like the proximity sensor to detect when your phone is by your ear, or the ambient light sensor for auto brightness. 6. Free public Wi-Fi network. Free and open Wi-Fi networks are available almost everywhere. While they're certainly convenient, we've talked before about the dangers of public Wi-Fi. Since the business you're in set up the Wi-Fi network, it's in control of it. This means that it could track every website you go on, build a profile on you, inject new ads, and more. You put a lot of trust in companies when you connect your device to their Wi-Fi. There's no telling what data they collect. 7. mobile service provider tracking. We've talked about privacy violations from apps in your OS, but don't forget about your wireless service provider, either. Companies like Verizon and AT&T can learn information about you based on how you use their services. For example, which cell towers you connect to can reveal where you often go or where you are. Like your home ISP, your mobile provider also has access to your browsing through its mobile data. For tips on how to protect yourself from these privacy violations, email us here at Riddle Me This.
Pull up the single turn